Our next guest joins us at a moment when relationships are under more pressure than ever. We're living in a world where divorces are rising, loneliness is an epidemic affecting every generation, and birth rates are declining across much of the developed world. At the heart of all this is a simple but profound question. Why are men and women sometimes struggling so much to love each other well each and every day? Speaker, coach, and best-selling author Joanna Hairabedian steps into that conversation with her new book, Solo to Soulmate, Break the Cycle, Attract the One, and Rewrite Your Love Story. What a beautiful chat. I'm looking forward to speaking with you today, Joanna. Your book talks about some of the ways that women may be unintentionally pushing love away. Let's start there. What are some of the key aspects that you note?
Well, it's interesting. I used to be the queen of this. So this is how I know how to write the book and really help women. I would say one of the biggest things that we don't even realize that we're doing in pushing love away is something as simple as receiving a compliment. So often it's really difficult for women to receive a compliment. I used to be the queen of that. Someone would compliment me and I would say, oh, no, this is old, or, oh, you look so beautiful. And so I had to learn. And it was really interesting. I had a dream where I dreamt that I was preparing this beautiful bouquet and for my friend, for my really good friend. And it was the most exquisite flowers you could ever imagine. And in the dream, I handed her the bouquet. And all of a sudden, she grabs the bouquet and she slaps me in the face with this bouquet of flowers. And the petals fly everywhere. And I'm appalled and I'm angry. And I was devastated. And so then it was like this voice in my dream spoke to me and said, this is how you make people feel when you can't receive the gift of their compliment. The bouquet of
Wow.
flowers represents the gift, right? So now let's bring this into a relationship. So your husband, your boyfriend, he compliments you. And what do we often respond with? Especially if it might be that time of the month or we're not feeling good or we're feeling bloated as women, right? We respond, oh, you're just saying that. I look fat. Or no, this doesn't look right on me. So what have we just done? Number one, we've trained our partner not to compliment us. We've also called them a liar because men, they actually mean the compliment when they say it. Unlike women, often we don't. We negate it and we think there might be an ulterior motive behind it. So you see how this is a subconscious thing we're doing, but this is what contributes. So you do this over and over, and what happens? You're creating distance and separation because now he's feeling rejected because he tried to compliment you. And it was interesting when I was doing research for the book. I interviewed several different men, and one of them was married. And he shared this very same thing. He had gone to the store. He had bought some really pretty lingerie from Victoria's Secret, and he bought a pretty card. He actually signed the card, and he gave it to his wife as a gift in a nicely wrapped package. And she looks at it and says, "Oh, well, I know what you want." And instead of thanking him for taking the time to go to the store, buying something for her, picking out something pretty, she totally negated those, what I call superhero behaviors. So
Yeah.
she totally deactivated him. So how often are we doing this in relationships? And so this is what I help women in my book, From Solo to Soulmate, come into awareness of, because we don't realize this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and it sounds like there could be a very simple shift here to potentially just saying thank you. But then it also sounds like there must be some underlying work to do to get to that space. Do you look at that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Because, we all have a journey and we all have different traumas that happen. It could be a big trauma, a little trauma, and those traumas create lies within us. And so when, a woman has been single for a long time, I married Mr. Wrong the first time, and that was a disaster. And that I share my story in my book. So I think a lot of women are going to be able to relate to that, being with Mr. Wrong. And so then after the divorce, I became single. And then that most unexpected thing happened. I was single for 2 years, turned into 4, turned into 8, turned into 10. So now, of course, you're going to go through a host of things. You start feeling lonely, you feel jealous because you see other couples, you see your friends starting families, you don't have that, and you don't understand what's wrong with you. What are you doing wrong? And you can't seem to attract the right guy. The guy you are attracted to, he's either emotionally unavailable or he's taken. So now we start coming into these mindsets of, well, gosh, all the good ones are taken. I'm never going to find a good one. So see, now what I'm doing is by saying those things in my mind and attaching the emotion to it, I'm basically prophesying, declaring what I'm not going to have. And I was meditating one day and that revelation hit me. And I realized that I was declaring the opposite of what I wanted. My mindset was, well, I don't want to be old rolling down the aisle in my wheelchair before I finally meet a guy. And even for, our married women, maybe they've lost the spark in their relationship. There's always something underneath. In my book, I talk about we have two sides of a coin. And in relationship, you have the side of the men, and then you have the side of the women. Now, we are both 100% responsible for our actions, for our thoughts, for what we do and what we say. Now, of course, bad things can happen, and that's not negating that. But we still have to look at what's on the inside that is contributing to the same cycle. And that's what I had to look at. And in my journey of transformation, I began to realize there were mindsets, lies, thoughts, beliefs about myself, unworthiness, even though, I was successful and on the outside, everything seemed great. I'm a strong personality. But I couldn't seem to attract a man who could handle that.
And I know that your book really gets into what you say is creating a soul-level vision for the relationship that God intended. What a beautiful thing to put out into the world. Once again, we really appreciate your time. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for right now. I'd love to continue this conversation. Joanna Hairabedian, thank you so much.